So the core method of this project, I'm going to go back to a screen share now, is a four-step process, which I think is best, the acronym RACE helps try to remember it. So basically, it's a four-step process: reflect, ask, connect, expand. Reflect means before you go into a conversation, get together a few things. First, what is your conversational strategy? So that reflect on that. Second, what are the keys to you being the best listener possible in this moment? What do you have to do that? And then, perhaps most important, what are the experiences you're going to share? Because you're going to share a couple of experiences that have a particular point, and you want to get those together in your head before you're in that conversation. Okay, so you're done your reflection. Next is ask. So essentially, you're asking them to say more about what they believe. So the first level of ask is say more about what you think so I can understand it. But then the critical thing is to say more, tell me an experience or two that is animating or driving your belief. Tell me something that happened to you that when you first started thinking like that, or something that happened to you recently that reinforces your belief. You're asking about a personal experience. You're essentially shifting the conversational ground from opinion to experience, right? So by asking questions, right? Okay, so after they tell you some experience and you're listening attentively and doing all the things that is important to know how to do, then you connect with them. And how do you connect with them? You connect with them by sharing a personal experience that shows you have some similarities with their perspective. Some similarities. Not you think of the same way completely, but you have some similarities with their perspective. So they tell you a story, you tell them a story that shows, essentially, I'm not completely unlike you. Part of the bigger superstructure that happens in the US now, especially between conservatives and progressives, or especially around race, which is largely but not exclusively a conservative to liberal conversation, is people are defining, people think we're in separate tribes. And part of what we're trying to do is to say, well, I'm not just, in the extreme version, I'm not just a libtard or whatever kind of negative views they have of people who are progressive. I'm somebody who is not completely dissimilar to you. So you're connecting by telling a personal experience that is relevant to the topic that shows you have some similarity to them. Then you expand by sharing a personal experience that will tend to expand their point of view. Part of what happens is that the natural response is for people to try to go right to expand, right? What you were talking about, Nancy, about breaking out facts, what you're trying to do is what often you're doing what most people do, which is if somebody says something and I'm gonna expand their view now, right? Let me blow them away with this fact and then drop the mic on them, and then they're just gonna quiver in my brilliance, right? But we try to expand before we do the other method, before we ask, before we connect, right? So this method is about these steps. And then at the end, or certainly not at the beginning, you share some personal experience that tends to expand their view. So notice what you've done. You shifted the conversation from their opinion to their experience, and then you offer some experience that tends to say that you're right about something, but then also, but there's more to the story to think about. All right, so that's the basic overview of the method.